Hello. Welcome to the channel. This is Spooky Nikki Reads, and I am Spooky Nikki. And today is the first episode of the Indie and Diverse Author Spotlight series. When I created this booktube channel, it was the very first thing that I decided that I wanted to include because it's so incredibly important to showcase authors that deserve to be in the spotlight for a while, but they're not hyped up enough. And so I want to be one of those people that shows up and represents for them and gives them their spotlight when they can. So let's get into episode 1. All right. So in today's episode, I am going to be spotlighting Daniel B. Greene, or as some of us know him as the Disheveled Goblin. So first, I really want to explain why I am doing this series and what I mean by diverse. So indie authors have such a difficult job. And there's still a huge stigma on indie authors, which is absolutely ridiculous. People still say, "Oh, you're self-published, you're indie published. I guess no agency wanted your book. I guess no publisher thought your book was good enough. I guess your book is just not good. I guess you're just not a good writer, huh?" And it's all crap. Being an indie author has absolutely no inferiority to being a traditionally published or trad pub author. Absolutely no inferiority. Actually, we do more of the work. And though some authors do choose to go the indie route after they've tried trad pub and been rejected a bunch of times, and there's absolutely no shame in that. But most of us choose, I'm an indie author too, but most of us choose to be indie authors and be self-published because of the independence and the added control that we can have. However, it is extremely difficult. We don't have editors and book cover designers and stuff taken care of for us. We don't have an agency whose publishing name can bring us more popularity and our books more popularity. Instead, it's all on us. Indie authors wear over a dozen hats. I've counted it. Well, maybe it's not over a dozen. I have like 5 businesses, so I wear more hats than some. But you wear like a dozen different hats. First, you have to write the book. And then you have to edit different drafts of it and create the world building and the characters and everything else, which actually comes before writing the book. And then you have to hire a professional editor or several. And then you have to sign on alpha readers, beta readers, critique partners, sensitivity readers. Then you have to actually publish the book. And then you have to advertise, market, and promote your book. You have to create all of the copy ad posts. You have to shout it out across all of your social medias. And there are some indie authors that don't have social medias or a social media presence, but how they can have a popular or successful book. And I mean, you writing a book makes you already successful as a writer and author, okay? But I mean, in order to have a great number of book copy sales and reviews and everything else, I don't see how it's possible to do that without a social media presence. There are those that do so, but I don't know how they do it. I don't know those secrets. What I do know is indie authors usually have social media presence everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere that they could possibly do. I know some authors that actually have a Twitch account and live stream on Twitch. There is so much that goes into it. And you can't just like be like, okay, I published a book, I'm letting everyone know, and then expect people to buy your book. That's not how it works. You have to, most of us, we have to announce our book. We have to tease the covers. We have to showcase the covers and tell about the book and about the trips and about all the things. And a lot of us tell about the process of us writing it and do vlogs on writing the book and what's going on and the stresses of it and everything in between. And then you publish the book and you have to announce that it's published. You have to announce the release date before it's published so everyone can know, okay, this day I need to go buy the book. Some authors do pre-orders. So then you have to announce the pre-orders and try to get as many people to sign up to pre-order the book. You have to get art out to people, which, if you don't know, those are advanced reader copies. That way, you exchange advanced reader copies for free for a free and honest review. And some people still don't review the damn book. So it's incredibly difficult to even get the reviews, even when you get the arcs out. And then the book is published, and you still have to keep talking about the book. You still have to keep advertising and marketing the book. You have to do promotions for the book, and sometimes you do giveaways and you do live streams and all of these other things. And then you got to do it all over again for another book. And guess what? You can't stop marketing the first book. You got to continue marketing the first book and the second book and continue that with the third book and on and on and on if you want anybody to remember to buy this. And some readers don't even consider buying your book until you have a backlist of several books so that they could try out one of your books, and if they like it, they'll go back and read some of your backlist. Some readers don't even try one of your books unless you have a backlist. Some readers, if you're writing a series, will not even try one of your books if it's in a series and the entire series isn't published yet. So if your series is 10 books long, you got to wait until all 10 of those books are published before those particular readers will even invest in one. It is incredibly difficult. It's hard. It's stressful. You cry. You laugh. Everything in between. Being an indie author is not some subtle. It's not inferior. It's just as difficult as traditionally publishing, if not more, because there's more on your plate. There's more hats you have to wear. And on top of it, you have to get your branding together for all of your social media presence. If you are also using YouTube as a way to shout out your books and display them and draw in more readers, you have to post videos, which means you have to film videos, edit videos, upload videos. They all have to be in brand. They all have to be watchable and interesting, and they all have to be something that the YouTube algorithm's not going to just not show anybody. And instead, YouTube's going to be like, yes, this is someone you should read or watch. And the algorithms on every platform change all the time. So once you get used to the game and you know, okay, I gotta do a post on this day, and you gotta post on this day, and on this platform it's this day and that time, everything changes. So then you have to shift everything again. Being an indie author is a trip. And they don't get enough hype. Even on BookTube. How many BookTube channels do you see here on YouTube where they never talk about indie authors? They only talk about the popular, traditionally published authors that is all over the internet. They never mention an indie author book. I want to be different than that. I want to showcase and spotlight these authors because they freaking deserve it. I also want to showcase and spotlight diverse authors. Diverse as in authors and or characters that they write into their books that are of different color, of different ethnic backgrounds, LGBTQ plus community, women, because somehow we still draw a little bit short on some of the areas. And other categories as well. I want to showcase and spotlight indie and diverse authors on this channel. So once a month here on this channel, I will put up a new episode where I pick one indie and or diverse author who also may have diverse characters in their books and spotlight them. I want to talk about their books. I want to talk about the books of theirs that I've read and my reviews of them. I want to talk about their social medias and anything big coming up for them. I want to celebrate them publicly on this channel, one episode at a time every month, and give them the hype that they freaking deserve. So that's what we're doing here today. This is episode 1, and for today, episode 1, I am spotlighting Daniel B. Greene, the disheveled goblin. He. Hi everyone. I just wanted to come in here and take a short, very quick detour to tell you about something that's happening this year. Christmas is right around the corner, and my daughter and I have decided to make a new tradition here in our home. This year, we're going a little bit fewer and smaller when it comes to the gifts in our home. And we want to put that money somewhere else. So we decided that we were going to use the money that we would normally use on extra gifts that we don't actually need for someone who may not be getting any gifts this year. There is a family that we know that just moved to West Virginia, moved back home to West Virginia this year. She's a single mom like I am, and they are a special needs family like we are. And she's doing it on her own. And the people who love and care about her are worried and trying to do everything they can to help. But Christmas is so quickly approaching, and I know how hard it is to get gifts for your kids, especially special needs kids, when everything is already tight as it is. And especially when you have to explain why there's no presents under the tree to a child that may not understand money yet or any of it. But no child should go without a gift for Christmas. So I want to make their Christmas special. I'm not going to tell them that I'm doing this. I'm not giving out any of their personal information. Instead, we have a mutual friend. And when I have the gifts ready and wrapped, I'm going to have our mutual friend go and take it to her and her kids. And it's just going to be from Snowflake the elf with a card saying that Santa Claus knows that their family needs a little bit extra Christmas magic this year, and he wanted to make sure that they felt special. So I want to include a gift card to Walmart for the mom so that she can get whatever she wants and needs. And we're going to try to make sure she gets at least something for herself and gifts for her kids. So I am going to work with our mutual friend on getting her to sneakily find out what her kids want and need and their sizes and everything. So what I am asking is for you to help me and my daughter make Christmas special this year for this family. Any donation will help, even if it's $1 or $5, everything adds up. Everything will make a change. It'll make a difference for this family. And I think she's got 5 kids, so we really want to make it a special Christmas for them this year. So if you will open your hearts and open your wallets and please donate so that we can help this family have a special and magical Christmas. Part of the reason I didn't want her finding out that I was the one that did the call of action for everyone to help is because I don't want to ruin the magic of Christmas for the kids. I want them to believe that Santa gave a special job to a special elf just for their family. I want them to believe in the magic of Christmas still, and I don't want them to lose that. So my name is going to stay out of this completely. I'm not, like I said, I'm not giving any personal information. My link to my PayPal is going to show on screen, but it's also going to be in the description below. Please open your hearts and your wallets if you can. If you can't, that is perfectly fine. Make sure that you and your kids, your family is good this year. But if you can, please, please help me and my daughter and our mutual friend help this family have a special and magical Christmas this year. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great and amazing holiday season. Back to the regularly scheduled program. There's a YouTube channel. I think you may have created a second one here recently, where he reads and reviews books. He's also a booktuber, and he goes into very great depth in his discussions about books. Definitely go check it out. He talks about Brandon Sanderson, Joe Abercrombie, Robin Hobb, uh, the Dresden Files, Discworld, The Wheel of Time, all kinds of stuff. I absolutely love his channel. His reading and reviewing his discussions have actually turned me on to a bunch of authors that I really want to start reading in the new year and trying out. And so many series that are on my list to read. So go check it out. He is on Instagram. He's on Twitch or X. I also believe he's on TikTok. He's all over the place. He's authors. He's an incredible person. and he has 3 books published. So I want to take a little bit of time to talk about his books as well. First of all is The Breach of Peace and The Rebel's Creed from the Lawful Time series. This series is fantasy. I believe it may be a dark fantasy. Definitely feels dark. Has a little bit of sci-fi in it, but not much. I think it's mainly just in like the monster. Um, if you are a fellow writer and or author, I highly suggest you read the Lawful Time series as examples of how to write characters. Because in this series, every single one of the characters are so layered and specific. They're not so unique that they're not just like regular people, but they're so specific that if you've read this series, you could say 2 words to describe a character, and if you've read this series, you immediately know who we're talking about. For example, if you've read the Lawful Time series, Brave Coward, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Every one of his characters is like this in this series. And as an author, I see this as incredible examples of how to actually create characters, not just the main characters, but all the characters, where they feel real. They have certain phrases they say, certain curse words that there's assholes and there's good people and there's conflicted morals. There's all of it. They feel real. I gave both of these books a 5-star rating. Now, I also want to mention that the first book in the series is a novella, which is incredibly brilliant. It is a brilliant strategy because, one, it's long enough to get you interested and reeled in, but it's short enough where it's not a huge investment to try. You can read this in a few hours at night. It doesn't cost much because it's just a novella. And by the end of it, you could decide, okay, I'm not interested. I'll move on to a different book or series. Or I'm hooked and I must read the next book immediately. Like I did. I read this book and then that same exact night, immediately afterwards, I didn't even get up to go get a snack or anything. I literally picked up the next book and immediately started reading the next page. And then I stayed up until 2 o'clock in the morning and realized, like, I have to sleep. I'm getting too old to stay up all nighters now. 2 o'clock in the morning is hard for me. So I had to force myself to put the book down until the next morning. Incredibly brilliant strategy. It hooks you. It hooked me. It will possibly hook you and make you invest in the next book and make you obsessed with the series. I absolutely love the characters, the story itself, the way it was structured. I really enjoyed because it wasn't really like past point of view, present point of view. It was more of this is what's happening now, and this is what happened 2 days ago to explain what's about to happen. And these characters have no idea, so the reader has a little bit more insight, and you're like, you're walking into a trap. It's not necessarily what happens, but you feel like you have to scream at the characters that things are going to go to hell, and you have to save them, and you can't do anything but flip the page and move on. The monster is gross, but the monster is brilliantly constructed, and the way he wrote how it's created and transformed, and how over the 2 books you finally start realizing what the monster actually is. And then by halfway through the second book, you're like, wait, what? Yeah, brilliant. The world building was so good. The world is horrible, but the world building is incredible. And I I always think of this one scene where the kids are in the street, they're playing and they're dancing and they're singing a song, and the words are actually about how their people was obliterated and how their culture was obliterated, but they're singing and dancing and playing and they don't realize. And there's so many things like that in our world, like Ring Around a Rosie. If you actually research it, that has a very dark reasoning behind that story, that song. And there's a lot of like conflicting opinions about it, but it's dark. And yet, as kids, we grow up playing the Ring Around a Rosie. When I babysat kids, I would play Ring Around a Rosie with them, and then I realized like this is bad. And I love how he included that, how he included like paintings that were hidden because they were from the old world and they were outlawed. You're not allowed to have art from them. You're not allowed to have beliefs from them. All of this different stuff. And you get little pieces of how the old world was versus the new world and how all of this came to be. And it makes the world so layered. I don't want to keep saying layered and deep so much during this, but it gives the world such substance. And it really makes you hate certain things for good reason. The characters that are assholes, they're assholes for a reason, and you know it, and you know it, and you still don't like them, and it's because of the way he wrote it. He wrote it that way. It didn't just happen. He created that, and the way he did so was so smart. The way he writes, all of it is so smart. And you can tell by the reviews he does on his channel and how deep he gets into his discussions that he has used all of his experience through reading books and reviewing them on his channel to implement all of those little things into his story. And he implements those so well. And it just makes you believe every word and feel how truly real and solid this world is. And then you go to Neon Ghosts, The Witch's Sin. He just released that a few months ago. It is available on Kickstarter right now. Well, it is as of when I'm filming this. This video is not coming out until the 10th of December, I believe. So I don't know if it's going to be available on Kickstarter when you're watching this video. But you can read the ebook. That's how I read it. The audiobook is out too, I believe. I'm I'm getting the physical copy as soon as I possibly can. But the world and the Witch's Son. Okay, the world building, how incredibly smart and incredibly well it was built in the Lawful Time series, multiplied for the Witch's Sin. The world is so real and in depth. Every layer feels like a new world. Well, not every layer, every story and level of the world feels like a new world, a new environment. you feel your nose itch and your throat burn when you get close to the gases. You feel like you can reach out and touch the building and feel the cool of the metal. You feel like you can feel the irritation of all of the neon lights and all of the buzz around you from all of the advertisements that are constant. The substance of this world is incredibly done. It's incredible. The characters are really well done, and the mechanics of how things are created and the weapons and the wear and everything is created in this world is very interesting and really cool the way it's made in the world. I cannot rant about this world enough. If you're a writer or author, I highly suggest reading the Lawful Time series for examples of how to create characters. But for examples of how to create a world, I suggest the Lawful Time series and especially the Neon Ghost series. Both are incredible, but especially the Neon Ghost series. Um, I ended up giving all three of these books 5 stars. And that doesn't happen very often for me. The difference between a 4 star and a 5 star for me is a 4 star. I like the book, I like the characters, I like the story. I want to keep it for my collection. I will read it a few more times through the years. I really liked it and enjoyed it. A 5 star is there is absolutely nothing about this book that I do not love. I have to keep it on my shelf in my collection, and I will continue to read it dozens of times more until I'm no longer here. And scenes from the book is what pop up in my head randomly. I am going to randomly bring up the book in conversations and scenes from the book in conversations. I am going to use certain things from the book as examples of how to do certain things right when writing. And the book will be one of my favorites for that year of reading. At the beginning of this year, of 2023, I was very depressed and in a reading slump. I was very depressed because I lost both of my cats. And so I didn't want to read. I just was watching TV and feeling horrible. And I was grieving. And I had had these books on my shelf for almost a year, I think. And I was like, you know what? First book is a novella. I could try read that, and if it doesn't pull me out of it, then maybe I'll try a different series or something. But I really want to get into reading again. I really want to pull myself out of this funk, and I really like Daniel Greene on his channel, and he seems like a really cool guy. And the way he's so smart about things on this channel, it makes me so curious as to his writing. And these two books pulled me out of the slump. They helped me pull myself out of the depression a little bit more. And I highly recommend them. If you're in a slump, I highly recommend them. But not just for for writers and authors. If you're a reader that likes new, unique monsters, new, unique worlds, characters that are deep and layered and so real you feel like you can reach out and touch them and you can hear how they speak and you can see how they walk. If you love that in reading, read his books. I highly, highly suggest his books. I gave all three of them 5 out of 5 stars. I have the Lawful Time series at my top shelf because it's my favorite shelf and it will stay there. And when I get the Witch's Sin physical copy, great person. I highly recommend you check him out on YouTube and everywhere else. And if you do read his books, please go and review them. Reviews help draw in more readers and potential readers to our books and our stories. And so reviews are incredibly important for indie authors and diverse authors. One of Well, I've done say several reasons I picked Daniel for this episode, but he is an indie author, but he is also a diverse author because he is LGBTQ plus as well, and all of his characters are LGBTQ plus as well. So he is indie and diverse author. So I wanted him to be on this episode. Also, it's going to go up on YouTube in December of 2023. I read all three of his books in 2023, so I felt like it was the perfect author to choose. So, yeah, go check him out. If you like his books, please review them and send him a tag on Instagram or Facebook or whatever saying how much you like his book or that you read his book or that you got it in the mail or whatever, because as indie authors, all the stress that goes into this job and into these books, when we hear from someone that has read our books or who has just ordered our books and they're excited about it and hear how you're enjoying it or you're excited or whatever, it makes our day. It never feels like a burden. It just makes our day. And we're people too. We're all souls. We're all beings with souls, and we have our bad days. Sometimes we struggle with mental health. And to have something that's like that pop up in our feed or in our day, it makes our day so much more special, and it makes us feel like, okay, all of this is worth it. So please, if you feel like that, please tag him on Instagram or whatever and let him know how much you like his books or how excited you are to try him or whatever. Please let him know. Give him the hype that he absolutely deserves. And if you have another indie and or diverse author that you would like me to check out and possibly spotlight on this series, please let me know down in the comments below, because I have several on my shelf that I want to spotlight, several more that I want to read and potentially spotlight, and I am always looking for more. I want to read more indie and diverse authors than I already do in the coming year as well. So give me your recommendations and give me your suggestions on who I should spotlight. So let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I am trying to grow this channel, and ring the bell so you'll be notified the next time I post another video. The schedule is down in the description, and all of his links from his social media to his YouTube channel to his books, all of his links are going to be down in the description below as well. So go check him out. I highly, highly recommend him to any readers, writers, and or authors. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you for coming. Happy reading, Eternal Readers, and stay safe. Till next time. Bye.